Good evening and welcome to the second edition of the Master Franchise Meet. I'm Venus Barak, and on behalf of Fran Global and Franchise India family, I want to welcome all of you. We would be doing these Master Franchise sessions and meets every week, same day, same time throughout the year. And in terms of setting the objectives and expectations for this session, I think internally and externally, the way we would be productive is one, this session primarily is connecting aspiring and existing international master franchise aspirants, people who want to invest and buy into international master franchise opportunities. Of course, another objective is for all of us to kind of, share with each other what is happening with the latest topics, where the market is going, and standard operating models around master franchising, share best master franchising opportunities, and build and expand on the international franchising community. I think before we bring in our chairman, I just want to share some notes from our last session. We did some analysis and from people, and it was a great interactive session we did last week. Almost 50% of the audience from the session were the first time entrepreneurs enthusiasts. We had two family funds representatives looking for opportunities, and between both of them, they were representing at least 250 business families with a sort of a portfolio of anywhere from investment portfolio capability of anywhere from 5 crores to almost 100 crores. 20% of people who attended were actually long-time professionals looking to enter entrepreneurship. Very exciting. And 50% of people who actually interacted and attended were existing franchisees looking for bigger area developer master franchise opportunities. So this is very exciting for us and drives our confidence that international brand franchising is going to be 5 to 8 times what it is in next 3 years, and that's what drives us. And so on that note, I think I really would want, this is a live session. This is not a recorded session. We are here with you live, and we would want this to be interactive. So do share with us where you are from. I'm from Haryana. I was born there. I was born in Haryana, in Rohtak, and I live in Faridabad. So tell us where you're from. Are you an existing entrepreneur or you're a professional? And kind of what excites you, what you really want to do. And so we'll keep this interactive. You can either push the Q&A button, or you can push the chat button to be able to interact with us. And we will try and answer as many questions as you would have, and keep the session alive. So look forward to interacting with you. And on that note, I would want to invite our chairman and founder, Mr. Gaurav Maurya, to share with us, his perspective on international master franchising and where it is going.
Thank you, Venus, and welcome, friends, and welcome to Franchise India Fran Global webinar. As Venus said, this is every Tuesday, so we have started a new session on our master franchise webinar because we feel that there's a lot of interest on people looking to acquire an international brand or bringing a brand to Indian market, and also, if not complete country, then maybe a regional rights to start with. So it's very important that we understand that how the opportunities are. One, are available. Second, how do we really go out and partner with the right kind of opportunity, and what is the next 4 or 5 years in terms of the trends and the opportunities hold for. But before we go there, let me give you a little understanding about Franchise India and Fran Global. Franchise India was started by me way back in 1999. India's first start your own business platform, where anybody wanted to start a business. And this was a problem which I saw, that there were a lot of entrepreneurs like me at that time who wanted to start a business, but there was no platform available. So we started with that platform, launched magazines, our digital platform, our exhibitions, our forums, our conferences, our broking arm, and all that was done in last 24 years. And we have serviced over a million odd entrepreneurs who wanted to start a business, help them in terms of making the right decision to do that. Franchise India also works with the brand owners to create the right strategy in terms of when they're looking to expand their franchise model. So we work with over 10,000 brands. So today we are a full basket of investment, different asset classes, from unit franchise to master franchise, which is a Venus subject. I'll go into deeper of that Fran Global work. But we also do a lot of investment in startups or mid-sized companies. A lot of people come and say, look, I want to be part of the value creation and I want to invest into maybe an emerging startup. So that also we have available. So today, anybody who wants to participate in active business, Franchise India would have a solution, from running a small unit franchise to a maybe more sizable master, or investing into a startup or a early stage business. So Fran Global was started by Venus. This is a business which is has a very different approach, because we one side dealing with global brands which are looking to enter India, and sometimes they feel India is a very difficult and a complex market. How do we really define what is the opportunities for them in India, set their realistic expectation? Because sometimes an international company gets overexcited about looking at 1 billion people and such a large marketplace, and sometimes get even more disappointed because they don't see that easily getting into business or doing business in India becomes enticing. So master franchise is a perfect fit because it gives an opportunity of entering one of the largest marketplaces for international brands. But it also gives you a partnership with a local partner who understands the local market and can handle local issues. So more and more company, rather recently, but day before, Venus was quoted in Bloomberg in terms of how global brands are now very excited to enter Indian market. And last 2 years have been exceptional for us. Why? Because on one side, a lot of companies started diversifying and they started looking at newer opportunities to look at it. A lot of conventional businesses were not doing well, and people wanted to look at newer opportunities which they want to invest into 2021 or 2022. So they came to us. But more importantly, the global companies which you never thought would look at India, because their domestic consumptions got low, and they started looking at other opportunities to expand their horizon. So everybody wanted to de-risk, everybody wanted to go to multiple markets. If you are a US only brand and you feel that the market is stagnant now, it is not growing, you will have to look at emerging markets like India, Brazil, or any other country for your expansion. Another area which has also been in our favor, the world suddenly has shifted from China investment to another alternative. So India is going to gain in 2022 and 23 because of, so to say, outside China opportunities. So there was a time where everybody was super excited about just being going to China. I'm not saying this is going to stop, and I don't want to take this as a no China discussion, but I feel that India has emerged as a very strong alternative of investment. Also, I think we have all woken up to the point that there was a disproportionate trade between India and China, and the Indian government is very keen to create newer opportunities, like the new startup initiative, which the Prime Minister spoke about 3 days back, is all about really encouraging new sectors and new opportunities coming to India. So Fran Global is a market entry company. So market entry company, we help international brands to enter in the Indian market. Indian, not only Indian, but we operate in Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and GCC. So in these markets, we bring global brands to the market. We also work with homegrown brand owners to really take their brand if they want to take it to immediate market. So it means you want to take a brand to Dubai or a Saudi. Saudi is just opening up like anything. So a lot of people are looking to move their opportunities to that market. So this is what we do. Over the years, we have done over 370 plus market entries in different industries. It can be F&B, it can be fashion, it can be luxury, healthcare, education, a lot of other concepts which we have done over the time. And we big focus is now on services, especially direct to home services, direct to consumer services is becoming exciting, and a lot of technology companies, a lot of technological frameworks. We also work on two different concepts. One is pure play franchise, where you take a full model as a franchise, either master or area, or you just take a license. Some companies have great production capabilities within India and they don't want to really bring the product from outside, but they need the brand. So we do brand licensing also. Recently, we just launched a television on Amazon under the brand name called Acer. Acer is a license. So it's a technology brand, very, very popular brand, but not in televisions. So the local manufacturing and trading company came to us and they wanted a brand, and we got Acer for them. And now Acer is a very powerful brand. When you see a Acer television versus a XYZ brand, even MI or all the people, Acer looks much more premium and much more valuable. So we're doing a lot of work in the licensing space and also master franchise. Now let's stick to master franchise because this is a discussion on master. So master franchise, one has to be a very different mindset when you're looking at a master. Venus gave analytics on what kind of players come to us. So it can be family offices, it can be large industrial houses who want to diversify. It can be also people who have collectively put some fund together to bring the businesses, especially professionals, senior professionals who want to really bring in some global opportunities, are able to enable capital. They are able to raise some money. But more importantly, when you're looking for an investment in a master, it is a very long-term viewpoint because it will need you to really build the brand over the years. It's not a short-term viewpoint. You cannot look at a horizon of only 3 to 5 years kind of horizon. You have to look at a horizon of 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. I always tell that 94, McDonald's entered Indian market. Today, they are almost 27 years in India. And today, if you ask McDonald's, which is your greatest market, say India is just begin to happen. So they would go 5x of what they have done in last 27 years in next 5 years. So you can really see the opportunities would really start multiplying. Another example, 1400 stores of Domino. Domino wants to add 3000 more stores within next 5 years. So the opportunity has suddenly become very big. But if you really look at their journey, 94 to 2000, they had only 70 stores. And then from 2000 to 2010, they added another 300 stores. And then subsequently now the journey is going in different structure. So it's a long-term structure. You need to get your product right. You need to get your supply chain right. Fortunately now, because of the digital economy, because of the better distribution, better infrastructure, the scalability of brands have become much easier. And so very importantly, first is your mindset. Set your mindset right, what you want to do. Then second thing is industry. Just not go for brands. A lot of people come to us and say, we want to buy a master franchise. Can you get me a Chipotle because you were studying in US, you used to eat out of Chipotle and you were a fan of a Chipotle and you just want that, without understanding would Chipotle be an interesting opportunity for India. I personally have a different opinion. It's not a very scalable brand at this moment. It can be a great brand. It would do very well in Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, but it'll take his 10 years life cycle before it can become a opportunity which is as accepted as a Domino's or any other company. Like we recently launched a very interesting, announced a very interesting brand in pizza because that market is mature. So anybody who would come in a credible brand within pizza market with a little differentiator and little bit entire thing would do extremely well. Why? Because the market is already established. People want to take an alternative. So if I was ordering 2 times Domino's, I want to order 1 time something else. And what is the alternative you have internationally? You have only Pizza Hut and nobody else. So if you have a third pizza brand, which is a great international brand, which gives you an alternative to these giant organizations, you would do very well. So you need to really see, when you're looking at, a lot of people are impressed by the brand, but I'm more impressed by the total addressable market. So if when you're taking a master, always think about what is the total addressable market you can really do. And more wider you want to go in India, more you can spread, that opportunity becomes interesting for me. was in Manila one time, and somebody invited me home, and it was very late. And one of the brands, and I was not interested to go because the name said potato corner. So I looked like that is somebody trying to sell some French fries, and maybe it's not going to be worth for my time to go and meet this company, because it's going to be a small kiosk kind of a business, because the name was Potato Corner. But I went there and I had a meeting at 9 o'clock, and I was very impressed meeting the founder. And he told me that he runs about 900 stores in just in Manila. It was small potato the thing which they used to sell French fries with different toppings and different structure. And it made so sense to me. It was so scalable as a business, and 900 locations only in Manila. And that company we now represent, and we're looking for a partner in India. So I always look at, when you look at a market like India, you always have to look at something which is much scalable, something which can become meaningful size. And if you are able to hit the larger addressable market, you can build a phenomenal amount of value, which these companies have done. You look at a Burger King, look at KFC, look at any other businesses, there is a huge opportunity. And there is a huge opportunity in almost every space like that. So Fran Global really constantly have a full research team in consulting team. We constantly work on categories which are going to be next 2 to 3 4 years of advantage, categories and brands which would have a great promise. So first criteria for us is really going deeper into industry, and that's what I told everybody. First, think about the industry. Once you've thought about the industry and why you feel that there is a 3 to 4 year, 5 year great opportunity coming in, and then we get on to specific brands. And those brands, we do a lot of analytics in terms of understanding their competitive advantage on coming to India. Why would I bring an American brand or a European brand and pay a fee to them? What kind of competitive advantage they bring in? They bring in the brand which is already known in India. That's an advantage. They have some kind of an IP which cannot be duplicated, or they have systems and processes which is very difficult to duplicate. Anything can be duplicated, but there is a lead time to do it. They have a larger commitment to the brand in the market. They have a certain amount of innovation which I think can be very disruptive to really shift the market. So what is that advantage coming in? Like, for example, look at a company called Tony and Guy. Tony and Guy is just a salon company, but done very well in India. Why? Because it was a greatly developed brand, very strong capabilities, very strong processes, and it gave a more aspiration to a salon market. So when you went to saw an Indian brand and you saw Tony and Guy, you saw a better aspiration. And for a young country like India, aspiration works. So it became a very successful business model. Similarly, if you look at a fashion brand like a US Polo or a Tommy Hilfiger and likes of them, why they became more successful than a lot of Indian fashion brands with the same product? Because it delivered aspiration. So you really have to see, why are you making a decision to take one brand and what kind of a competitive advantage they bring in. The third thing which I always look at is the business model and a financial model. And partially, this is not given by the parent company. When you're looking at a master, it was other way around. A lot of people come and say, okay, I want to take this master, tell me the plan what they have. He says, no, this is not the plan the company is going to give. It's your country, you need to give the plan. Rather, you have to go and put up a compelling plan to an international company and say, I want to do this. And that's exactly what it works. This is how it works when people come to us intelligently and say, I like this brand and I have a plan for this brand. This is what I want to do. And then we can work with them to really do the analysis on the brand, do a little bit of course correction, and then go out and present intelligently to the parent company and say, this is what we want to do. Recently, Venus brought a very big gourmet bakery company, French bakery company to India. Rather, we've brought of them iconic. But there was a plan. There was a plan what we wanted to do, what location we want to do, and what kind of investment you are able to do that, how you want to really phase out your rollout plan. And good companies really buy into that. So they don't want to have overly fast expansion that you break the brand, or they will not be able to do the right justice. So very clearly develop what I call the business and the financial plan. And the fourth thing, which I think is very important, and both Venus and I would participate, and that's what our specialization is effective negotiation. And negotiation is just not financial negotiation. Financial negotiation is a very small part of it. While it's an important part of it, we want to be very, very conservative in terms of making commitments to the company. But the negotiations are all about the legal contracts, because you're getting into overseas contracts. I mean, even if you have a wrong judiciary in that contract, it can really put some kind of a legal pressure for you, or fighting overseas litigations can be very, very expensive and very tiring for you to do that. So you have to be very careful when you're looking at taking on a brand, how you're going on these 4 steps. What is your mindset? How you want to really define that? Are you cut out to do a master or area franchise? What industry you're choosing and why? Which brand you're choosing, and what is the kind of competitive advantage they bring in? And then go out in further, developing your business plan and financial plan, and finally get on to the effective negotiation, term sheet, legal contracts, a trademark protection, and a lot of other things which are required to do that. So friends, I will not take too much of your time. This is a show which is led by Venus. So she invited me to be part of that. I was able to give you maybe my 2 cents in terms of what is an opportunity. And there are great opportunities we have, and more are coming every day. And once we understand your strategic and financial capabilities, and I look at strategic more, because you might have some experience which you want to really bring in on the table, because money anybody can bring in. That's fine. But why a particular company is chosen on another? Because they have some strategic advantage. When a Starbucks was looking at India, there was not even a single large corporate which was not under their application, not even a single one. And conventionally, people who had no idea about food also applied for it. I mean, large industrial houses, everybody was there. But they chose Tata's for many reasons. One, ethics, because they're a joint venture, and joint venture, you're trusting your local partner and your large capital is being deployed. When you're working with Tata's, ethics is never a question. Never a question when you're working with Tata's. Second, they had a retail advantage, a lot of retail advantage. Third, they had some very strategic go-to-market capabilities. Fourth, they were large tea players. They can integrate tea, their water, their supply chain, their Sky Gourmet, the Tata Gourmet, which is a airline catering company. All that was very strategic, right? So it was just not about capital. Capital, I don't want to tell the name, but there were players who were ready to put more capital in this. But they had none of these strategic advantages. So Starbucks actually entered India 2 times. First time they entered and they packed up, and then 2 years later they entered with Tata's. And this time we already know what has been a great success. It is a phenomenal success, and they're riding and investing more and more. The confidence of the company has come back. So it's extremely, extremely important that what is the strategic advantage you want to really bring in into your, when you are coming to us. And it's not just a financial call. Friends, we have a lot of other options of international brands. Sometimes you don't have ability to just bite the complete master, and you should not. I ask the question, a lot of people come and say, I want a full country, and say, do you run businesses in other parts of India? And I will look at them and say, they would look like that they've never even moved to one zone to another zone. So if you're a North India company, you've never done was work in Chennai, and you never worked in West, you never worked in East. So why even bother to do that? Because you will not be able to do any validation, because India is many countries in country. I think it is a Delhi company. It's much safer to go to Dubai and operate than Chennai and operate, because Chennai is very complex in that sense. But Dubai is still relatively international city and multi-talented and so on and so forth. It's much easier to do that from ease of doing business. So you have to be very conservative when you ask for territories. Don't go all over. And even if you take a territory, you can take a first right of refusal and build that one territory right, and then go to that thing. Also, what is the rate in terms of, sometimes you take a premium brand and people want all over a country. The client came to me and said, I want all country, and say, premium brands only sell in the top 20 cities of India. Why do you want to even go and take cities which have no meaning to this business? Just because you want to write India on the map? So go out and pitch that I want to do these 20 cities. You will be able to effectively negotiate much better. And that would anyway give you 70% of the marketplace, right? So you have to be very smart in terms of when you are putting yourself in negotiation table. And that's what we participate very closely. You have options of multi-unit franchise. You have options of area franchise. You have options of a master franchise. You also have an option of even taking a smaller territory, which means that you can just come to us and say, I want to watch just one city and I want to do it great. Like I have a great company which I'm looking for a city partner for a service company. It's a service company, Amazon of services, personal services. So very clearly looking at technology enabled direct to consumer kind of a company. Very big valuations can come in, and we're looking for city partners. And investment is not big. Investment would range from anything from a 75 to 1 crore kind of investment. So not that sometimes people think that master franchise means millions of dollars of investment. You can take a good master and start your pilot and put this, I think starting from anything from 40, 50 lakh rupees, and it can go any higher number depending on the brand and the commitment you're bringing in. So these were my suggestions, and I'll pass it back to Venus. I'll also put my direct number if you have any questions for me, and you can reach out to me also. And especially if you have any brand which comes to your mind, which you have been thinking and you want to validate and say, would this work? Would this not work? I can tell you with the experience of 24 years and almost bringing and opening a franchise industry in this country, we know what would not work more than what we know on what would work. So I tell a lot of no's to people and say, why you want to waste your money, right? So if you just don't, so our interest is to get meaningful relationships and win-win partnerships, and then only it really works. Otherwise, you will not be able to do that. So thank you, friends. Thank you very much for your time and your continuous support to Franchise India and Fran Global, because in a day like this today, this is our third webinar happening, and there's one more to go. There are 4 webinars, and every time we open up, a lot of people come in and give us support and invest through us. So that's a very encouraging. And thank you very much for your time, and Venus, over to you for your discussion further, and also the opportunities you want to share today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. Thank you. You were able to join in. So that was a great session on and summarizing how to approach master franchising. Just recapping what Gaurav mentioned. So we need to focus on mindset. So that's very important in master franchising, and that's where our biggest, I would say, struggle come. Whenever you use the word master franchising in whatever form, it can be country, it can be region, it can be a city or an area, but unless you have a long-term vision, a long-term perspective on the opportunity, it would then be a very hard play for you. So you have to see not from a 1 or 2, but let's say if you are, for example, if you are in Gurgaon, I'm just talking to a city next to me, you have to say how this city is going to be in 10 years. And that's where you were, so long-term view is very, very important. I think Gaurav did mention about the case studies of Domino's. So it took Domino's 27 years to reach 1,450 restaurants, but they will be opening another 3,000 restaurants in next 5 years. Same with McDonald's. In fact, we're currently working with world's #1 brand into office spaces. It's a London Stock Exchange listed company called Regis. And they have been here in India, I guess, 12, 13 years. And they have almost 130 locations across the country. And they plan to add another 500 in next 5 to 7 years. So I think with an economy like India, I mean, we're all Indians, the economy is in constant shift. So you really need to, look at what's going to happen in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. For example, the recent deal I have closed, the tenure of the agreement is 25 years. And that's very important. Just imagine, and I see so many contracts being done for 10 years. 10 years, I mean, if you would, for the first 7 years, you're predominantly building the business, building the brand, and then imagine after, what would happen after 10 years. So it's very important that, these things are very important. Second is industry. I read somewhere that when everyone is positive, risk is high. And when everyone is negative, opportunity is high. You need to invest in industries which are growing and which will be certain X in next 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. And I guess, so choosing that industry is very important. For example, the guys who brought in Subway, McDonald's, Baskin Robbins, Domino's, Pizza Hut, KFC to India, nobody was eating, but now everyone does. So yes, up to a certain extent, that opportunity has been, I would say, explored, exploited. So you would then want to build on that. So if you want to invest, for example, in food and beverage industry, you need to say, okay, in last 25 years, when all these big guys came in, this happened, but would the next 25 years be same as last 25 years? The answer is, I don't think so. It would, I think India has really moved quite a bit as far as its population dynamics is concerned. Our economy is concerned. It is much more open now. Our digital shift. So account in for all that, and then sort of look for the opportunity. So total addressable market, as Gaurav mentioned, scale is very important. And again, I think when we talk about scale in a market like India, it means different things for different people. Just right before this session, I spoke to a luxury brand, and for them, scale is different. They are looking at just the not even 1%, top 1%. They're looking for top 0.3% of people and inventory in India, and transacting with them. And for them, capturing that clientele is very important. So for them, scale is different. If I'm talking to a burger company, the scale will be nothing less than 1,000 stores. So again, scale is important. So you need to decide which market you want to address. Like for some, like if you go to Yum, if you go to Jubilant, if you go to Hardcastle restaurant and many other players like these, for them, quick service is the game in the town, and unless there is a scalability factor, it will be very hard. So if you want to eventually, couple of years down the line, you want investors to come in, you want value to be created at a large scale, you got to then, you can't then operate out of luxury business, right? Because that's very small. So that is very important. And then the next one was brand. What brand? And I would echo Gaurav's thought. It's my experience. Although, brands, legacy brands. So I do get a call, I would say 3 to 4 calls every week, who will say, Venus, hame Chipotle chahiye. We need Chipotle. And let me tell you another thing. When I started in this business, this is 2007, my first franchise show in Delhi, Hotel Ashok, I would say 20% of people who came to the show said, Venus, we want McDonald's. We want McDonald's franchise. That I would say that would have reduced to, I would say 0.5% now. So I think it's important. And again, a McDonald's business is a really hard business to invest in, to run. And I think you also have to know that in a market like India, a majority of the brands, which with the exception of Subway and Baskin, I think, yeah, Baskin, every one of them are corporate owned entities. All the stores you see of all the brands which we have mentioned, with the exception of these two brands, are actually corporate run, invested their money. That's why they had to eventually take the route of an IPO. So, I mean, choosing that brand, and again, don't just go by the size or the breadth of the brand. The bigger the brand, the difficult it is. It took McDonald's 16 years to break even in India. So, I mean, not many people can actually, sort of live with that. So you need to sort of look at a brand, and depending upon where you are, you are based, for example, in Pune. It is a cosmopolitan city, and you say, I want just to invest in the city of Pune, and I want a brand. For example, I want to bring in a bakery where I can open 25 bakery over a period of 10 years, and I want to kind of really bring the best bakery to Pune, for an example. So brand is very important. uh, and then the next part was business and financial modeling and plan. That this is the, I mean, I do deals for ourselves as well as for our clients. This is where deals are made and fall through. This is where reality kind of has to speak for itself. And then last but not the least, and definitely very important, is how you structure the deal. I have seen many deals where just the negotiation was just how much you can reduce the initial fee, but no consideration on the weight being there on royalties, on other training cost or support. I mean, you can't. I mean, in some cases we ourselves are master franchisees, and the kind of support and help we need from the brand, we know, and we negotiate on that. So I think structuring the deal from a standpoint of tenure, revenue share, support, training, marketing, customization. Imagine if 27 years back McDonald's hadn't thought about how I don't want to use the word different, but how the palate of Indian people is different from Americans, for example, and but they would not have recognized that, and they would have not invested so much monies and efforts into having the aloo tikki burger or the Mc veggie burger, which still has which still account for their biggest sales. The brand would have not done well. It would have failed. So I think that also is part, that how much customization is needed, and that's a product brand, like eventually. But imagine a service brand. In service brand, the model is very different, where you are where the cost of service for example, in London or in New York is different than the cost of service in India. Our labor is generally 25 or 20% of what they have in those countries. So if they are charging, for example, $100, which is about 7,500 rupees, here that service with all the cost factored in cannot be would be typically, let's say, 3,500 rupees, like half the cost, which is $50 or even less. So I think those factors are so important. So I guess I hope we there are two questions. is this a good time to invest in education given the pandemic challenge? Hi, Sakshi. Thank you so much for your question. It's a very good question. And actually, I'm glad that you asked for it. Sakshi, few things before, I try and give you my side of the thought process here. One, a lot of people don't realize it, but India has the largest education franchise market anywhere in the world. We have the most mature education franchise market anywhere in the world. And this predominantly because 75% of our education is privately driven, not public. And it has historically always been a very important part of the franchising industry. At one point in time, and I'm talking early 2000s, it accounted for 35% of overall franchising. Started with in the mid 80s with guys like NIIT and EPTech and Jet King, big companies, listed companies. And then, of course, completely got disrupted by the preschool industry. They were before pandemic, there were almost 70,000 preschools in India, and half of them are franchised. 97% owned by female entrepreneurs. So education is big business. In franchising, it's huge, starting from kindergarten, K-12. Our company, not Fran Global particularly, however, we have recently signed on to a Finnish American school. So we'll be helping them to open in India. But our company Franchise India sells K-12 franchisees. And then after that, vocational training, competitive exams, professional training, every kind of franchisees is available. Now, if you can, Sakshi, while I answer your question, if you can also mention to me what kind of category you're looking for. You're looking for kindergarten, K-12, or a post K-12 category. I think few factors. One, education is highly has gotten highly disrupted because of this. Before Corona, I would say retail, food and beverage was already getting disrupted, right? And then, but education was still fairly static. You go and get admission and you do your classes and all those things. But again, with the Corona, the edtech industry, all of us now are aware about this. This word has really sort of pushed itself and has become mainstream. Imagine in 2 years, edtech has become mainstream in India. It's phenomenal. So I guess the opportunity is not going anywhere, because the number of children are the same. And just like every other Asian country, academics in India are still considered the best way to uplift yourself from, let's say, uplift yourself economically. So 100%, the opportunity is not going anywhere. Of course, it is affected because everything is shut down. The way I've spoken to a couple of people in the industry, both in India and outside India, once the market opens up, you would see a lot of momentum happening. And there are few I would say white space area which are still available, which are highly unorganized, and or just not there, which is doing supplemental programs for children, where you're working with children not just from a pure academic purposes, but helping them build their cognitive skills, STEM program, physical, sports, creative. dance. So you will see a lot of supplement, because parents now realize that their kids now need to be well-rounded individuals. Eventually, communication, English speaking, we are seeing a lot of traction happening where parents want their children because they've seen their children be doing Zoom classes. So a lot of them want that their children should actually sign up into a professional English speaking program. So the opportunities are going to be plentiful. Yes, the market would open up. Once that opens up, a lot of M&A already is happening. It will happen. I think you would need to share with me or with us, where are you looking at in this opportunity at? What category? Because education is segmented, right? K-12 is regulated, kindergarten is not, vocational is not, supplementary programs are not. So what do you want to do? And we should be able to, add some perspective on that. For example, we are the exclusive development partners for world's #1 brands for Legos for STEM education. We have built a model there where it used to cost 1 crore, but again, as Gaurav and I were sort of discussing with you, that we would that we from 1 crore model, and they had actually a center in Delhi which costed more than 1 crore 5 years back, to just this is about 9 lakhs now, where we have made the model brick and mortar free. Again, this is because the corona factor, where we know that instead of opening a storefront, let's say a woman entrepreneur can buy the license, can buy the kits, and then do classes in neighborhoods, in schools, do birthday parties, do summer camps. We have opened another brand during the corona period in education, which is into coding for children. So I guess I'd say opportunity definitely has evolved. It has contracted in some spaces because it was just over leveraged, frankly speaking, Sakshi. So those things keep in mind. And if you share with me, I think you have my email here, right, Sakshi? If you share with me what are you looking for, I'll be more than happy to sort of discuss and accordingly give you a sense on what would be appropriate. I hope that answers your question. And I'm glad that you asked that question. If anyone else, Vidur Kumar, hi Vidur, thank you for asking the question. Do you have any brand in e-vehicle industry? Yeah, this is the hottest industry right now, both from legacy standpoint, startup standpoint. Everyone is, and at the biggest level and at the smallest level. I think this is, and again, I think this industry is not going to go anywhere, especially in a market like India, where 80% of our fuel is imported, is highly taxed. So I think going green is a no-brainer for a market like India. Fran Global, although we are currently working with one of the largest, they just got a funding of $750 million e-vehicle, e-bike sort of delivery company out of Europe. But currently, I don't have any specific EV brand. However, our parent company, Franchise India and Franchise India Brands, who manage the domestic portfolio, they have a couple of very exciting EV brands. So I guess if you are looking in this space, Vidur, that would make sense. I think if you can also let us know what kind of EV opportunity you're looking at, because we are currently talking to people, who want to manufacture EVs or distribute, or also sort of putting charging stations. So I think this is a lot is happening in EV industry, as you can imagine. Tesla, come on, I'm sure you would have heard what's happening in on Twitter, where Elon Musk wrote one line that facing some regulatory issues, and then I guess I think 5 or 7 different state chief ministers started quoting him that come and manufacture in my state. So yeah, I think if Tesla is making a call to come to India, and I think the challenge has been that Elon doesn't want to manufacture in India. That's the challenge, and I guess that is going to be a big challenge for him, because in the EV sector, unlike the traditional cars with fossil fuel, you do need to set up an infrastructure of power stations for Tesla. So I think, so yeah, it's a very disruptive section. I think you need to let us know if you're looking at this at a individual level, at an enterprise level, and accordingly, we should be able to sort of, give you some sort of guidelines and help, and if needed, representation to be able to be engaged with the brand. Okay. So Vidur and Sakshi, I hope this does answer your question. I know that we're about to finish an hour. Any other question anyone would have with regards to franchising, master franchising? We have, before I finish the session, I want to share that Fran Global at any point in time would have anywhere from 70 to 100 active brands. We have relationships, and I'm talking I'm talking meaning that we have met them in person, or we know them over the years, with over, I would say, 5,000 brands internationally. In most cases, if you talk about all the major brands, we would already have a relationship. And again, remember, in this industry, a director today might be a director in somebody else's brand. So we are part of the community, and I'm very privileged to be part of this community, which has helped me to sort of be here with you today. So our biggest asset is that over the years, through good, bad, and ugly, we have seen the worst, we have seen the best, we just have the experience and network and relationships of being in this industry, where in case you are looking at an international brand acquisition, we can help you from choosing the right brand, the industry, investment, representation, structuring of the deal, and getting a closure as well. It is not an overnight exercise. Generally, our contracts for these kind of deals are for 2 years minimum, and it takes anywhere from 6 months to a year to close a decent country master deal. So that's where we can bring you some, I would say, some value. And so if you are, or anybody would be keen to understand this world more, then reach out to us. You have my information, and on email and on number. Reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to discuss. And we have, if you would want our, we will share with you our brand brochure. And so you can go through the opportunities which we already have, and look forward to speak with you. Good luck for the year to everyone here, and let's have a great year, and let's take care of ourselves. Be safe, and we'll see you next week, same day, same time. Thank you.